Some coil up, like beautiful clouds. Some stand erect, looking solemn, like immortals. Some seem to have been well carved, like jade tablets or jade ladles. Some are sharply pointed, like swords or halberds. Some resemble dragons or phoenixes. Some seem to be moving, ready to fly or jump, like ghosts or wild beasts. Others seem to be walking or galloping, ready to grab or pounce. In the evening, when strong winds blow and heavy rains pour down, their caverns are open, as if drinking clouds and spurting lightning. They are imposing and awe-inspiring. In the morning, when the mists disappear and their scenes are beautiful, their crags and hills appear adorned with makeup, presenting a hazy atmosphere so agreeable that you may flirt with them. It is impossible to describe the alternation of morning and evening scenes. In short, all the great mountains, caves, and valleys have come here. Just sit before them, and in one glimpse you will see a mountain 100 ren high, and a landscape 1,000 li wide, in a stone the size of a fist. That was a poem written by Bai Zuyi, a Chinese government official and poet from the Tang Dynasty. Bai Zuyi was fascinated by stones of all types, but he was certainly not alone in this fascination. Around that time, many scholars were beginning to collect stones from different parts of China, and not before long, these extraordinary rocks had transformed into a fundamental part of Chinese culture. In English, these objects have many names: viewing rocks, garden rocks, or spirit stones. But their most common name, scholars' rocks, is derived from a historic connection with the educated elite of China, a close relationship that has lasted for more than 1,000 years. But in order to understand why people began collecting these rocks, we need to look at the unique relationship between humans and mountains in traditional Chinese thought.
The particular associations with the Taoist tradition are really rich and really resonant with how these rocks are understood in a garden. The mountains were the dwelling places of the immortals, right? These sort of magical beings in Chinese religious thought who had cultivated themselves. Maybe they were human originally, but they had cultivated themselves through meditation and through the use of magical potions to become something superhuman, right? They could fly, they could, they lived extremely long lives. They had other sorts of powers of, telepathy and things like that. So the mountains were the dwelling places of the immortals, right? And so it had that association with magic and, kind of a spiritual dimension.
Given the cultural and spiritual importance of mountains, it isn't that surprising that the first rocks collected by scholars were large and awe-inspiring. They were chosen especially for their resemblance to great mountains in Chinese culture, both real and mythical. These large mountain rocks were first introduced into traditional Chinese gardens, alongside ponds, trees, and flowers. There, they serve the unique purpose of recreating the natural world within the comfortable confines of a garden.
Gardens were seen as microcosms They were recreations of the natural world, but in a sense almost superior to the natural world because they had been domesticated, they had been educated. They were filled with rocks and trees and foliage and water and architecture, and these things did not symbolize the outer world. They didn't symbolize the macrocosm. They were equivalent of the mountains and the rivers and the streams and the oceans. They were the equivalent, but in a miniature form, so that people could experience them on a personal level in an environment that was perfectly created to allow people to, in a sense, get in touch with the natural world, right?
By the Song Dynasty, scholars were collecting smaller and smaller rocks, effectively shifting from the garden to inside their study. Here, these rocks were used as objects of meditation and inspiration. Scholars believe these rocks were microcosms of nature and the universe, and could spend hours contemplating the different features of each rock. In the scholar's mind, a tiny hole could become a huge cavernous space, and a sharp bump, a towering peak at the top of a mountain. Scholars' rocks are categorized based on where they were found, and naturally there are several famous locations, with each one producing rocks with a distinctive color and shape. The Scholars' Rock in the Allen collection is known as a Taihu rock. Taihu rocks are named after Lake Tai, a large freshwater lake located near the city of Wuxi on the east coast of China. These rocks are famous for a white, almost bone-like quality, and a surface that's covered in countless holes and indentations, forming miniature cave systems that snake their way through the rock. This iconic erosion pattern is unique to Taihu rocks, and by looking at some of the geological processes at work, we can start to understand how a Taihu rock is formed.
The rock is limestone, which is a sedimentary rock. It's deposited usually on the bottom of the ocean from decaying, like dying ocean creatures. Shells are made out of calcium carbonate, and so it's like lots of dying ocean creatures, and their shells are all sort of being packed together into a rock. And so limestone is, because it's made out of calcium carbonate, it's very soluble. So calcium carbonate or limestone is a base, and so anything slightly acidic will dissolve it, and rainwater is slightly acidic normally because of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and so it's very soluble in rainwater.
The formation of any scholar's rock is a long, gradual, and intricate process. From its humble beginnings as a collection of marine organisms on the seafloor to its current home at the Allen Art Museum, this rock truly contains a rich history spanning millions of years. Written into its extraordinary features is a story that lies at the intersection of art, culture, philosophy, and geology. Come see for yourself what it's like to stand before a scholar's rock, to see how it twists and turns, to visualize the network of caves, the towering mountain peaks, the worlds within worlds, all contained within a single rock.